Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Hello, Ollie. You made the video when the narcissist does the enabler's dirty work for me in January. I write this to do my story and ask you for help. I will describe some family dynamics that should have been red flags for me, but I didn't take them seriously. I thought that I could change them for the better. I look forward to hear your take on them. Hope your viewers can also learn from my mistakes and don't get involved with people like this. In your first video, you said that I could not change my boyfriend and that I should leave him. You're absolutely right. I believe that my boyfriend and his brother are the way they are because of their upbringing. No amount of help can change this unless they decide for themselves that it is wrong and just plain toxic. Looking back at it, his older sister and younger brother are likely the same or going to end up the same. To be clear, I live in a Western European country where I emigrated. I want to keep this anonymous. I myself am from Albania. My boyfriend is from Kosovo. These are both predominantly Muslim countries who speak the same language. Yeah, it was also a lot of war back in the 90s too. I myself am not Muslim, but my boyfriend and their family are. Well, there's your problem. You're not going to get past this. In these countries, you almost never see women wearing a headscarf, and they look just like Western people. In my country, they behave more westernized. Religion almost always comes secondary. I thought that because we are neighboring countries, we shared a history that would be very similar to my country. I was very wrong. Yeah, they are more westernized than most Muslim countries, but they're still a Muslim country. And at the end of the day, they believe in that. They believe in that Quran. They believe you're inferior. It all became clear when I was introduced to his parents. I thought that I would get that warm welcome with a lot of questions. When we rang the doorbell at his house, the mother-in-law opened the door and she kind of froze. There was no smile and she very coldly said, "Come in." I came in and we gave a handshake. I leaned forward to give a kiss, as is the norm in that Western country and also in our culture. She just stood there looking kind of weird to me, so I bounced back. It felt humiliating and cold. Then I met the sister, who was nice. When I came inside, the two brothers and father were standing there. They just said hello from the other side of the room. There wasn't even a handshake. This was not what I expected. It felt as they were analyzing me and not welcoming me. I looked at my boyfriend and he just sat there and smiled like it was normal. When we got to sit down, I got seated next to his mother. These people are here for over 10 years and his mother still hasn't learned the language. I had to speak Albanian to her, but their accent is very different from ours, so I could barely understand her. My boyfriend and I never spoke Albanian with each other, so this was very awkward. His mother immediately started asking about my mother, which was very weird to me. There was almost no questions for me. His brother, who I had a fight, asked me if I could cook this particular dish as if I was his girlfriend. It was all very weird, and I left with a very weird feeling. Yeah, because in that culture, everybody's wife is everybody's wife. So his wife is you're everybody's property. So you have to cook for him. The mother wants to know this about. When I told my boyfriend how I felt, he brushed it all away as if it was normal. He said that if they behaved that way, it was because I was the first girlfriend I ever brought to their home. It made no sense because these are just adults. They should know how to behave and treat their guests. He always insisted to take me back home and hang out there. My boyfriend had to share a room with his two other brothers. This was because they lived in a social home like Section 8. There were only 3 bedrooms. It was very awful. At least he got his own bed. The 2 other brothers had to sleep together in the same bed. Make no mistake, my boyfriend works as a plumber for over 4 years since he graduated high school. The money is good. His other brother, whom I had a fight, also works. Only his sister and younger brother are still in school, but in this Western country, school costs almost nothing, and their house costs almost nothing. But they live like they're broke in a third world country. The father also had a minimum wage job, but the mother didn't work and was on welfare. I asked my boyfriend why his mother was sitting the whole day watching television when she could get a job and support the family. He said because she had varicose veins, she couldn't work. I said that my father had the same thing, and he does heavy physical work on his job. Then he told me to shut up and mind my own business. They're scammers. They're gypsy scammers. Then he told me to shut up and mind my own business. I told him that my mother also has a job and speaks the language, and his mother should be at least opt to provide for her own kids. He got angry at me and ignored me for a while until the subject changed. I really understand that some mothers stay at home for the upbringing of their children, but not when their children were now grown. And she didn't even speak the language. Even though she was always home, every time I came there, it was dirty. There was fungus on the bathroom walls that got piled up for months. Dirty carpets, plain hairs in the bedroom, dirty windows, etc. She was also overweight. Always cooked fries over and over again for herself and her children to eat. She was making no effort to lose weight. Even though they lived bad on the outside, it didn't seem that way. They always bought secondhand cars. The brands were mostly BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, etc. They use these cars to drive and resell them for a higher price. Sometimes they have up to 5 cars at once. This is very expensive if you look at the insurance and registration costs. My boyfriend and his brother also invest in this. I have no knowledge of this, but it doesn't seem profitable. I told him that if his mother could get a job, they would have to run a mini garage. They wouldn't have to run a mini garage. His sister and brother could also get a job on the side. The expenses would lower if they wouldn't have all these cars in and out. He got very angry at me and told me I was wrong because they're living off the government mostly. Okay, and they like cars and trinkets. They're scammers. They're gypsies. Even though he never wanted to admit it, I'm almost sure that he paid for their parents' groceries, cable TV, clothes for his sister, and God knows what else. I told him that I almost certain knew where his money went, and that he didn't have to play houseman for the mess that his parents created. He was always angry when I tried to tell him this. But on one occasion, he had told me that his father came home angry from work and that he was screaming to his children that he didn't want to work anymore, that his children should work for him, and that he should be at home relaxing. That's the culture. That's these culture. They're lazy. They're lazy grifters. They're lazy gypsies, and then they want to live off their parents, and then they want to live off their children, and then their children have children, so then they can live off their children. Meanwhile, they're all collecting welfare and benefits and all that other bullshit. You can't change this. This made me very angry, and I told him to get out of that shithole and never look back at it. He always stayed with no money saved up for himself and future children, no freedom and nothing in return for himself in that dirty house. His parents want to live like a king and queen. When I asked him why he stayed, he said he wanted to save up money, but he never did because it all likely went to them. King and queen of the shit pile. That's what the narcissist. They'll be king and queen of a shit pile as long as they're king and queen of something. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care how shitty their kingdom is as long as they can rule it. After the fight with his brother, even he even told me that his parents liked me so much and that they were considering to take me in their house with them because my boyfriend had told them behind my back I had toxic parents. To me, this seemed as a guilt trip to lure me back in. I am sure that if they got me that far into taking in that I would be a kind of servant to them. Right. They just want, that's what they, I told you originally, they were sizing you up to be a servant. That's all it was. I wouldn't even have my own room with my boyfriend. I am almost sure that even though I would have convinced my boyfriend to move out, the money would still go to them. I think it would also be the case with the other brothers. It would leave their children with little money for their own family. Keep the circle of poverty going. The fact that he had to share a bedroom created problems, stress, and discomfort for us as a couple. For example, because he's an adult. He's an adult working as a plumber, making money, and he's living in a shithole. For example, we were once at his house and we wanted some privacy. His brothers weren't home, so we decided to go to the bedroom. We weren't going to do something anyway, just talk and lay down on his bed a little bit. When we walked out of the living room to go to his room, I turned around to close the door and check for their reaction because it was the first time we did this when his parents were in the house. His father didn't even look. His sister smiled, but the mother looked very mad at me as if she wanted to hit me. Very hateful eyes. When we got upstairs, I said to my boyfriend that she looked like she wanted to do something to me. I said to him that I felt ashamed and very uncomfortable being in the room with him while his parents were downstairs. He told me I must have misunderstood the whole thing. I insisted to get out of the house, so we left after 5 minutes of being there. Looking back at it, we really didn't do something bad. We were adults, not some teenagers who were going to experiment or something. My boyfriend also had a very weird relationship with his mother. Yeah, well, he's obviously a son husband. After the first year that we were together, it was Valentine's Day. I bought him a perfume gift and gave it to him. He was very happy with it. He had also a gift for me. He bought a teddy bear and made a beautiful handmade box full of roses. When I opened the box, I said that it was beautiful. He smiled and said that he had been working on it the past few weeks. Then he told me he made his mother the same thing and gave it to her for Valentine's Day. She was very happy with it and put it on a special place in the living room where everyone could admire it. Creepy. He's already married to his mommy. He also made one for the sister. The minute he told me that, the gift was ruined for me. I also found out it was almost disgusting to give a Valentine's present to your mother. Yeah, and your sister? You think because you speak the same language, you come from two entirely different cultures. I didn't want to ruin the day, so I kept quiet about it. The next day I asked him why he gave presents to his sister and mother for Valentine's. He told me he always does that and that he didn't want his sister to be left out. I said, okay, but why are you giving a present to your mom when it's your father's job to do that? He saw nothing wrong with it. I asked him if his sister also gave his father a Valentine's gift. He looked at me weird and said, no way. Then I said to him, see how weird this looks now? I felt then he understood how odd it really was. There was also some issues with his dad. I got weird vibes from him and sometimes felt as if he was looking weird at me. We were once hanging out Saturday night. It must have been around 1 a.m. when my boyfriend realized that he had forgotten the house key. He called his father to see if he was still awake and told him that he forgot the key and was coming over to get it so that he wouldn't wake them up at night with the doorbell. We arrived at the house with the car. It was dark outside, but the street lights were on. When we arrived, we saw his father standing outside in his underwear looking at us. I turned my head away out of shame, but he kept standing there. My boyfriend got out of the car and they went inside. When my boyfriend got back, I told him that was embarrassing. My boyfriend said, I know. I asked him why he was standing there in his underwear. He said that his father wasn't very happy that he and his brother are always out late at night, that they should be more at home. Back as an adult, and he's paying for this operation, right? Back in his time, the kids don't behave like this. I told him, yeah, sure, go outside in your underwear when you know that the girlfriend will see you, to lecture your adult son that he shouldn't have fun with his life and money. We never spoke about it again. Also, at birthday parties, the father was always filming with his cell phone, and then he went and sat right before me with his cell phone, filming in my direction for a longer period of time than should have been. For the first time that it happened, I thought maybe I got it all wrong, and it wasn't what I thought. But it kept on happening every time until I told my boyfriend about it. He said that it wasn't like that, and he was filming the cake, not me. But why would you film a cake for 2 minutes straight with a camera in that angle when you can just take a picture? Exactly. Their sons were always allowed to do a lot. This couldn't be said about the sister. At first, everything seemed normal. I thought that she was like me and could do as me. But the more I was present in the family dynamic, the more I learned it was not the case. The sister could not have a boyfriend of her choice and had to remain a virgin until her wedding, with the partner that her parents would choose. When they would marry her off, will receive the money. When they marry her off, they will receive money. In the case of the heritage, daughters won't get a cent. It all seems like some weird kind of prostitution thing to me. Yeah, women are just assets in that religion. It's horrible. And the real sad thing about it, and I'll say this, and I'm going to do a video about it eventually, how I say violence is the end result of narcissism. Islam is the end result of feminism. Because as violent as it is towards women and horrible it is towards women, I think it's a few women are the ones pulling the strings of a lot of soft cuck men. The horrible things that are done to women in the name of that religion are things that can only have been thought of by other women. But that's a subject for another video. I asked my boyfriend if he thought this was fair. He said this is how our culture is. Our as if in his and mine. I said that back in my country we don't do that sort of outdated things, and the Muslim girls could choose who they wanted. Daughters receive heritage. He said that it was not the case in his country, completely ignoring my question. I kept telling him that she would be much happier if she married a boy from the Western country where I live in. He said she can only marry a Muslim. I said to him, I also wasn't Muslim, and I would never convert. Did this mean we couldn't marry? Then he got all mad once again and told me that I was asking too many questions. He said that I didn't have to convert and that he didn't want to talk about it again. His sister also had very few friends. At first, I didn't understand why. Later, it became clear to me that she didn't like to hang around normal Western girls who party and have a boyfriend of their choice. She also has a well-hidden hate for white Western men who haven't done anything wrong to her. Thank you for proving my point about the women. It all became clear in her sarcastic remarks and comments. This was very disappointing to me. It even goes so far that she doesn't like to listen to normal pop music. She only wants to listen to music from her country. I wanted her to taste the normal life and let her experience some freedom. Maybe then she would break free. They don't know what to do with freedom. She don't know what to do with freedom, and she don't want it. His sister is one of these women who will be pulling the strings of a guy, of a Muslim man, okay, saying, even though Kosovo's not as bad as, Saudi Arabia, where they have these decency squads, and they're, if you're not in a burqa, go look online, go look who's turning in the women who step out of the burqa, who's holding down the women for the female circumcision. Who would come up with those ideas? That's only something another woman could think of. It's women running the decency squads in Iran, in Saudi Arabia. It's women pointing out other women. Because the end result of feminism is, hell yeah, let's throw a bag over this chick. What? I don't even have to buy hair dye and pierce my face. We could all just wear polyester bags over ourselves. Perfect. End result of and female circumcision, so you're perfect. End result of feminism. The end result of feminism is Islam. You think you can give this girl freedom? You can't. She don't want it. She only wants to listen to music from her country. I wanted her to taste the normal life and let her experience some freedom. Maybe then she would break free. Once a night, his brother, who I had a fight with, called us up so that we could go out bowling. We were with a few mutual friends and our boyfriend's brothers. I saw this as a chance to go out with the sisters, so I convinced them to take her out. She came and we were playing a game. 10 minutes had passed and she was continuously on her phone, sending text messages, clearly too busy to enjoy the game. It was as if she had an argument. 10 other minutes passed and she was asking when we were going to go home. She wanted to get away. We said that we were going to finish the game and go for a drink outside, and then we would go home. She kept on texting and lowered her phone. When she lowered her phone, I saw that she was texting with the mother. This made me angry because I was almost certain that the mother was requesting her to go home. We finished the game and went out for a drink. By this time, she was nagging her brothers like a child to go home, but they said no. There was also a white male friend with us whom she occasionally made passive-aggressive remarks to. The day after this, I told my boyfriend about what I saw, and that I was almost certain that it was his mother who was spoiling everything. He said that I must have misunderstood it and that his sister didn't like to hang out. I said that she was completely happy before those text messages. He said that his sister said that she didn't like to hang out and didn't understand what was so amusing about those activities that we do. By this time, I thought about giving up to bring her back out with us. I asked my boyfriend what she would like to do if we hung out next time. He said that me and his sister could go out shopping with his mom. I said that I just wanted an activity with her and not the mom involved. He said that it didn't matter because his sister was very busy studying in college anyway. Long before that, the fight with his brother happened. We almost went on a vacation with him and a few mutual friends. It was all his brother's idea. We were planning the trip for over 8 months and had already booked a sleeping place. Everything was set. Just 2 weeks before we were going to go, the trip was completely canceled. According to his brother, his father didn't want him to go with us because he had to go with the family to Kosovo for vacation. His father was busy with a house and he had to help. Shortly after that, my boyfriend also canceled the trip, leaving me and our boyfriends mad. Leaving me and our friends mad. The friends were a couple, so they just went on a last-minute vacation for themselves. They also asked me to come, but I didn't want to play the third wheel, so I thanked them, but I said no. I was very angry at my boyfriend and his brother and made it clear to them that I didn't appreciate being canceled last minute for a trip that we had been planning for over 8 months. His brother told my boyfriend that we should go on vacation as a couple otherwise. First, we agreed to go again with our mutual friends without the brother, but then the boyfriend canceled back, saying his parents didn't want him to go and his mother was concerned that it was too dangerous. They're going on vacation, but they're on welfare, huh? Nice. I was furious. My boyfriend told me I should come with them to their homeland on vacation. I rejected this. I said to him that I wanted freedom to explore my things and myself, that this shithole country wasn't in my interest. Besides, you promised me this thing and now you change everything to please them. We made a lot of arguments, and he said with his parents that I was left behind. It was a shitty summer. They went away for 3 weeks. I don't know if they really canceled because of their parents or if they just didn't want to do it anymore, but I just can't get it. It must be the parents again, I think. Why would they always want to go to that shithole country? Every time they are out there, they can't rest because almost the whole family goes on the same period on vacation. They sit there in a big house full of crying babies, little children, and nagging adults. Always some sort of engagement or wedding where they have to help set everything up. They always have to buy presents or give money, and as they can't arrive empty-handed. At first it seemed like one big happy family thing, but it's just chaos. The only time I saw one of the kids go on vacation without a parent finger was when his brother went in a nearby country with some cousins. That's it. My boyfriend came back sick from food poisoning. No rest because there were toddlers crying all over the place and done some construction work on the house. His family was always around, knowing every move. I just don't understand it. After the fight with his brother, I left with deep sadness and a lot of anger. I feel betrayed by his brother for doing this to me when I haven't done anything directly wrong to him, and my boyfriend who let it happen. I just don't understand it. I don't understand how they could do this to me. I don't understand myself why I had to put up with this for so long. There are people, males who I just met and who I respect and respect me way more than my boyfriend and his family combined ever did, even before the fight. It just baffles me how I could put up with this. I am so angry. Sometimes I just want to do evil things back to them. I'm truly afraid that one day I will do something stupid that will get me in big trouble. As a result of this, I was constantly thinking about it. I failed my whole college year. Not to say that it is their fault directly, but it had gotten such a big impact on me, I can't seem to go on with my life. I just keep thinking about it. I sit with deep rage and nobody knows about it. I haven't told anyone about the fight. I don't know if I will trust people again. I don't know if it's safe to tell someone, but then again, even if I tell someone, I will feel humiliated. I feel the person won't understand why I stayed for so long, and maybe I should expose them to save other girls in the future from this faith. I really don't know. How can I deal with the anger and shame it all at once? Thank you for everything. This channel has been a great help to me. Anonymous. Well, look, I think you're mad because he chose his family over you. But he was, look, you're going to have to let it go and realize this was going nowhere. This relationship and this family was going nowhere. Was going nowhere. Because these people will sit in a shithole just as long as they can rule it. Narcissistic royalty, that's what it is. They'll rule a shithole just so they can control it. That's it. That's all it is. They're gypsies, they're grifters, they don't want to work, they're lazy, and they want to live off their children. What is the point of this? Why do you want to revenge on? I get it, but you can't save this. You can't save the next woman, you can't save any of it. Because if you do, you're gonna get, you're gonna get charged with being accused of a hate crime, or it is what it is. It's a completely different culture, a culture that doesn't mix with your Western values. And what I think you found out the hard way is, okay, it's the women in the culture that pull the strings of it. The women are the ones pulling the men's strings out there, beating women and all that shit. It's the women. Not all of them, But it's the women, it's feminism is the power behind that religion. And they would rather be king of a shithole just so they can rule it. That's who they are. Kings of a shithole just so they can rule it. Period. So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story, Anonymous. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.